This week on Houston Newsmakers, a continuing drama as the presidential campaigns turn.
So I just want to tell you the campaign is doing really well. It's never been so well united.
The Republican nominee is unfit to serve as president. I said so last week, and he keeps on proving it.
It was Hillary Clinton that she should get an award from them as the founder of ISIS. That's what it was.
Because while Warren is standing up for a fairer tax code, Trump wants to cut taxes for the super rich.
Have you even read the United States Constitution?
And it's almost time for the new school year to start, and that means time to focus on the safety of all students. Crime Stoppers of Houston is leading the way with tips for all parents on this week's Houston Newsmakers Online.
From KPRC Channel 2, this is Houston Newsmakers with Cambrell Marshall.
And welcome to Houston Newsmakers and to Paul Simpson, the chair of the Houston Harris County Republican Party, and Jannard Jenkins, communications director of the Harris County Democratic Party. Thank you both for being here.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate you. Both of you have had some conventions to go to, which is a good thing, I suspect. Good stuff going on there. November 8th is the election day, not very far away now. There's a lot going on. Talk to me about what was going on at the Republican convention, your sense of how it went and what you would hope to get out of it. Well,
it was an interesting convention. I think it wasn't just scripted and choreographed. I think both parties had the conventions they probably weren't expecting. But I think that just shows a lot of restlessness among the voters. They want change. And that's natural, we think, after 8 years of Obama-Clinton administration, which led pretty dismal economic times, and our country's in serious challenges ahead. So
you went into the Republican National Convention already knowing that Donald Trump was going to be the nominee. Was it as smooth as you thought it might be? Was there disruptions that you didn't expect?
There was a little bit on the floor on the rules, but I think over and all the party, as you say, the outcome was foreordained due to the primaries, and I think this shows a big difference between the parties as well. You know, the Republican candidate was selected by the voters pretty clearly, bottoms-up process, whereas we know from the DNC emails that have been leaked by WikiLeaks how rigged the Democratic process was. I think no matter how many votes Bernie Sanders had gotten, they were still going to make sure Hillary Clinton was nominated.
Boy, you're on the script pretty early.
Not a script.
You didn't waste any time.
But I think we have a far more open process, whereas I think it's right on the Democrat side. Those emails have shown just how unfair a process it was on the Democrat side. Far more top-down. I think we're a lot more bottoms-up party.
Jannard, the Democrats went a week later. What kind of benefit do you think that was, or was it a benefit going a week after the Republicans?
Well, it was easy because the Republican National Convention was an absolute disaster, and the numbers prove it. We made history at our convention, making Hillary Rodham Clinton the first woman to ever win a major party's nomination for President of the United States. We made history, while the Republicans made dubious history by making their nominee the first nominee ever in history of politics to come out of his own convention and actually lose support. 36% of people went into the Republican convention supporting Donald Trump, while 51% came out of the Republican convention actually losing support for him. So basically they saw him, they heard him, and the more they saw and the more they heard, the more they disliked him.
What about what Paul said about the emails that were leaked? I mean, that cast a little bit of a pall on the process, did it not?
Well, I can tell you that a lot of people in the Republican Party wishes that there was some mechanism within the Republican Party that they could have done something in order for them to get them a different nominee than the one that they actually have. Listen, at the end of the day, the voters decided who was going to win the Democratic nomination. Hillary Clinton got more votes than any candidate that was in the race. We started with 4. She won over the 3 gentlemen that were in the race, and she turned out to be the nominee. Regardless of whatever the scandal was with regard to emails or whatever, it was proven in the primaries and in the caucuses that she had the number of delegates that she needed to win our nomination regardless.
An interesting thing has come about as a result of the conventions. While Mrs. Clinton was doing an interview on Fox where she said that the FBI director said she'd been truthful, which is really not what he said. In the meantime, under normal circumstances, that would have been a great opportunity for the Trump campaign to really pounce and take advantage of that. But Mr. Trump got engaged in what many said was not wise exchange with the Gold Star family. They challenged him at the Democratic convention, and he got into this back and forth both on email and Twitter. Was that the appropriate thing? What would you advise him if he had a chance to do it over again?
I think Donald Trump, as he's shown, is an outsider. He's not a politician. I think he's getting his sea legs as to how to deal with this going forward, because he's now got to transition to a general election. We're in I think the dog days of summer. It's August. The doldrums and news media is looking for something to make a story, and Donald Trump is good at making stories. But the bigger question here then becomes, what did the Democrats get coming out of that convention? And you just put your finger on a key issue. The FBI got this close to recommending indicting Hillary Clinton. And so she managed to skirt that. But you saw at the Democrat convention, despite what Gennard says, how positive it was. I mean, the Sanders delegates were not happy about Hillary Clinton being nominated, booing her and booing Bernie Sanders.
But by the time it was over again, by the time the whole thing was over, a sizable majority of the Sanders supporters have come in line with Mrs. Clinton. And what we've seen after the convention, the bump that's in place now with Mr. Trump, he's down by 10 points in some polls. One of the polls, the NBC SurveyMonkey poll, has Mrs. Clinton up at 50% to 42%. That's a national one. Yeah. And so is that something that you would be concerned about? We've talked about this before we started taping. It is only August. So.
It is August. And I think now you've got two well-known candidates, but they haven't even really started getting into the issues where there's a lot of collateral things that they are being hyped up now. But I think we need to look forward more as with the issues facing the country and who's going to have the better solutions for improving our economy, for keeping us safe in a very dangerous world. And I believe the Republican candidates up and down the ballot will have that.
Mrs. Clinton still at this time still has challenges in terms of polls with her trustability factor. How do you work around that as you go toward the general election?
Well, it's a matter of choice, and it's a binary choice, though. You have other, major parties that are going to have presidential candidates on the ballot, but we're talking about a race between Donald Trump and Hillary Clinton. One thing that I can say is that well-meaning, very intelligent people are very disappointed and very saddened at the fact that this campaign has not been about policies and ideas and solutions for problems that, are going to face the nation. Basically, the minute that the Republican Party nominated Donald Trump, it turned into a circus. It turned into a clown show. Donald Trump doesn't have any solutions. Donald Trump doesn't have any plans. Donald Trump doesn't have any policy. Basically, what happens is that any vote for any Republican at any time, in any place, is a vote for Donald Trump. And if you look at just the past couple of days, we're talking about a man who attacked the family of a fallen soldier. We're talking about a man who is so ignorant of foreign policy that he didn't know that 2 years ago Russia invaded Crimea. And we're also talking about a man who suggested that a woman who's being sexually harassed on her job should just simply quit. This man has proven over and over again that he has no plans, no solutions, other than the fact that he's just unfit for the presidency.
I know Paul has something to say about that, but I do want you to see that Mr. Trump was asked about that, and where he was speaking to a rally yesterday in Daytona, and here's what he had to say about on how far his campaign is off track.
Absolutely.
So I just want to tell you the campaign is doing really well. It's never been so well united. And we started on June 16th. I would say right now it's the best in terms of being united that it's been since we began. We're doing incredibly well. We're leading in the state of Florida. You saw the poll. We're leading in Ohio. We're about tied in Pennsylvania, but I think we're going to be leading the next time. So I think we've never been this united.
Well, he was wrong. They're not leading in Florida. But having said that, he raised $80 million, their campaign did, so that would give you some hope that things are going in the right direction.
Well, you can't underestimate Donald Trump, let's face it. I mean, he came out of a field of 17 folks running for the Republican nomination, and he defied all odds. So I think anybody who bases the outcome or predicts the outcome based on polls in August, national polls, is going to have some problems later on seeing how that actually develops. And what's important, of course, on the national level is in the presidential race is the state-by-state polls. And that's going to be key. Who are the voters that are going to come out and vote Republican? Well, I think we're going to bring out a lot of voters across the country who haven't voted Republican, who don't want to see Hillary Clinton, with her record of dishonesty and corruption and greed over the years and her inability to tell the truth. and as president. Meantime, we do have Republicans up and down the ballot have a very positive agenda at the national level and certainly here in Harris County in the state level.
What are you looking for to happen on the state level or locally here as a result of what's going on the top of the ticket?
Well, as rosy as the chairman likes to make this thing sound, it's actually a disaster on his side, and he knows it. Basically, in the primary that we had in March, less than 1 out of 4 GOP voters supported Donald Trump. He only scored 24.47% of the vote here in Harris County. Now you're saying that that number is actually going to go up. It's impossible. His national numbers are down. He's not up in the states of Florida. He's not up in the state of Ohio. He's not up in Pennsylvania. He just feels like he can step out there, say whatever he wants to say, and nobody's going to actually go back and fact check him. Basically, Donald Trump says one thing, and it just doesn't jive with reality. It never does.
What are you telling your basis about what's important here locally for your party? What are you telling them individually?
Well, to respond to that briefly, you know, I think this is all about the status quo, and the voters want a change in the national status quo. It's going to override all these academic debates about this point or that point. Now, locally, we've got, I think, over 100 races on the ballot. We have 86 Republicans on the ballot, over 30 judges, and we consistently believe that Harris County, which is run very well, it's a great place to live, work, raise a family, and it's the most financially sound county, large county in the country. And so we want Harris County to remain Republican, and that's going to be our message to voters, that keeping electing Republican judges up and down the ballot, electing all of our county officials as well, will do wonders for keeping Harris County working as it has in the past.
You see any soft spots in that philosophy?
Definitely there are, because if you are a Republican,
I'm shocked, by the way.
you are wrapped in the Donald Trump Republican brand. You can't escape that, whether you're running for a county judgeship, whether you're running for district attorney, whether you're running for state office, you are wrapped up in the Donald Trump brand. Some brave Republicans have stepped out and renounced this man publicly, and they have said it's not just enough to say, you know what, this statement I don't agree with, this statement that he made I don't agree with. You have to repudiate this man as a candidate. If not, you are wrapped up in that Republican brand. And what does that stand for right now? It stands for misogyny. It stands for racism. It stands for a bias against certain religions. It stands for everything that is anti-American. And whether you're running as a Republican for statewide office or for county office, you are wrapped up in that same brand.
As Paul said, it's only August, so we'll have to have this conversation again maybe in October?
We definitely will. I want to see if they can run away from Hillary Clinton as well, who's an incredibly unpopular politician.
We'll see.
She's up by 10 points in a Fox News poll.
Okay.
In a Fox News poll, she's up by 10 points. Nobody's running away from Hillary Clinton except for running her right to 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
We'll invite you back, okay?
Hey, great, thanks.
Paul, Janelle, thank you as always.
Absolutely.
Hey, just ahead, the start of the school year right around the corner. That means getting ready to teach, but also making schools safe in this coming year. Crime Stoppers of Houston working hard to help that happen. We'll talk about how next. And welcome back to Houston Newsmakers. It's almost time to head back to school for students in Southeast Texas, and that means lots of work is going on right now to get things ready for inside the classroom, but it also means making sure the environment is safe for all students. School districts, of course, are concerned about that, but so is Crime Stoppers of Houston. Rania Mancarius is the executive director of Crime Stoppers of Houston, and Michelle Sachs is the Safe Schools manager. Good morning to both of you. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having us.
Hey, so there's a lot going on. Talk about what's most important right now as you get parents ready and students ready to get back to school.
You know, we take a holistic approach. A lot of people don't even know that we have this Safe School program, that we're in 26 school districts. The program's free, and our #1 objective is to keep these kids safe in school, and that means we've got to study all the potential threats and risks that they find and they face, no matter age and no matter if they're in the areas of greatest wealth to the areas of greatest need. So our goal, and Michelle is just unbelievable in this, is approaching school administration, teachers, all faculty, school-based law enforcement, and getting the message out to parents and getting the curriculum ready for students so that we can keep them safe.
You had a summit recently about trying to get all that together. What kinds of things did you talk about getting ready for the school year in that summit?
Well, our focus is always school safety, right? And we all have come together for the common goal of making sure that these kids feel safe and supported. So we had a lot of breakout sessions. So we had great speakers yesterday. We had a police chief from Klein ISD come and talk about how administration can work with school-based law enforcement and how to work better together, right, to make sure that these kids are feeling safe. We always have mental health. That's always a concern. And that's always probably our most populated breakout session, is mental health. De-escalation techniques. for teachers, right? We know that these kids have bad days sometimes, right? So how are we going to de-escalate this? Because at the end of the day, we want them in class so that they can learn, and we want them to feel safe and secure, and we want our teachers to feel safe and supported as well. So that was a great one.
There's a lot going on, and as I started reading the materials, I said, wow, I wish I would have been there. We should have that online, the whole thing.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things, you sent information about Crime Stoppers and says what you think are some of the biggest threats facing our teens. And I got to tell you, I saw some of those elements that were a big surprise to me. Internet safety, I'm not surprised that that's one of the elements.
Yeah.
But risks related to selfies, what?
It's crazy, but it's coming up as a significant risk. They're saying more people have died from taking selfies than shark attacks. It's starting to show itself up in terms of what people study for health risks. These kids are taking selfies, driving, walking, wherever they are, running in the park, they're stopping to take selfies, and they're completely losing sense of their surroundings. Driving while taking a selfie, and I've seen it happen. I watched one girl get ready to take a selfie, and her expression had to be perfect, and we're driving down 59. It's extremely dangerous, and we've heard the stories of people on vacation who have literally fallen off cliffs taking selfies, and we know kids take them more than anybody else.
Well, you had synthetic drugs was one on that list, distracted driving, which we talked about as well, drunk driving, and cyberbullying. Is that getting any better? Are things in place now that at least more people are aware of it existing? Isn't that a good thing, that more people are aware that that is around?
Well, that's what we're working on, is making sure that awareness is out there. There were laws that were passed back in 2011 to try to help combat this, but unfortunately, the awareness piece is not there. So unless we are out there speaking to students and parents and teachers on how to keep their kids safe online, then we're not going to move forward, right, until everyone knows. So we're very fortunate.
Yeah, we're kicking off a huge campaign, and we'll have more official news later, but we'll be working with Sprint to really combat cyberbullying and internet safety, and we're so excited for what we're about to do together. It is a critical message. There are so many parents that say, well, not my kids. My kids would never.
Oh, we always hear that.
My kids are perfect, and they don't realize that some of these kids can be the worst. And so
when they get out of the door.
Yeah, because they're doing it from the security and safety of their own homes.
One of the things that's new this year, too, is the concealed carry laws that are out there now. And that's for the college level kids, but that's a lot of information that parents need to know, is it not?
They need to know, and what does it mean? And it applies automatically as of August 1st to all public universities and colleges in Texas. There are some gun-free zones within the campus structure, but you need to know if you have a child in the university setting who's deciding to bring has a concealed handgun license and will be carrying, what does that mean? You know, there are a lot of people that think, well, if I see a crime taking place on campus, I'm equipped to jump in and stop it. No, it doesn't make you a police officer. You just have a license to carry.
You know, I also noticed your animal cruelty is a new thing for you as well. That's ingenious, because you stop it early, you make students aware early, and it really changes their horizon going forward. Is that not true?
That is absolutely true, and we rolled it out this summer, and we had them as young as kindergarten, talking about how to not only stay safe, but to make sure that the animals are staying safe as well, because we understand the importance and we know what that can lead to, and we wanted to start as early as possible bringing that conversation up of
Well, I appreciate
safety.
all that you're doing. You guys do so much. We're going to put your website up as well, let everybody know where to go to get the information they need on Crime Stoppers. And also, the Houston Crime Stoppers, there's a number that everybody knows. It's 713-222-TIPS.
Yes.
But go to the website, because there's a lot more information.
Yes, we try to put a lot on there.
And you do, and it's very helpful stuff. So thank you, Rania. Thank you, Michelle.
Thank you,
appreciate it very much. A reminder that for the next 2 weeks and a week and a half or so, Houston Newsmakers will be online only because of the Olympics. The games in Rio will be seen exclusively right here on Channel 2 until the closing ceremonies on August 21st. We'll have live reports from our anchors, and you'll be able to see the special Olympic Zone programming that's coming up every Monday through Saturday at 6:30. So thank you for being a part of this. If you'd like to see previous shows or get information on this show, go to click2houston.com, and under the news banner, click on Newsmakers. Thanks for watching. I'll see you right here on click2houston.com.